Let's get this show started. Thank you
Let's
so
do it.
much. I am with Miss Laura Clapp Davidson. I don't know. Do you go by all three or just is it just Laura?
Depends on the day, Gabe. Depends on the day.
Okay, we're gonna go
I
with
mean,
we're gonna just go with Laura,
okay,
and
that's a
we're
good
just
one.
gonna roll with that today. I just want to tell you, when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to audio, when it comes to understanding what it is to communicate over a microphone, this lady knows her stuff. So welcome to the show, Laura. We're gonna start
Thank
out
you.
hard with our first question. Why should you start a podcast? Because you have an interesting story of, of how you started yours.
So I work for a microphone company and I found myself teaching people how to podcast and realizing I didn't have one, which felt kind of disingenuous. I mean, I knew all the mechanics of it, but I think I was just kind of overthinking it to the point where I just didn't want to put anything out that was going to be less than perfect, right? And I think that's what all of us kind of get stuck in, where we think, oh, if it only had this one thing, it'd be ready, or if blah blah blah. We can get in our own way a million different ways. So the main reason to start a podcast is because you have something that you want to say and you can say it in a bunch of different ways for several different episodes. That is key. But if the only thing that's holding you back is the tech or, I don't know, just judging yourself, just stop and just go for it.
Right. I mean, this lady's done podcast episodes from hotel rooms, right?
Mhm. My
Uh,
car.
your car. You
Yep.
did it at a convention.
Yep.
I mean, you've
Yep.
been all over the place. So, the idea of saying, I got to have the perfect acoustics, I got to have everything to be perfectly right. All this resistance they put, most people who want to start put in front of themselves. Uh, you kind of disprove that. You don't need all of that. You don't,
You don't.
you to do it. Like you said, you got to have a voice. You started with your first podcast, Long 43, and it spoke to a lot of who you were, right? In the music industry. It was just something that you, again, were passionate about, and you
Mhm.
already had the experience of how to put it all together. What was that like in the beginning? And what was the one thing that you would say, even with all the experience that you had, that you found difficult for wanted to say to any new podcaster who might be wanting to start a podcast?
Yeah, I think it was terrifying at first to do it because I decided I was going to this big trade show that I do every year. I've done it for 20 years. And I thought that would be the perfect time to launch the podcast because then I would have this like built in audience to talk with at the show and be like, hey, I've got this podcast. Go check it out. Right. So I recorded it. It was only, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes long, which my original episodes, that's all they were. And then I launched it and published it from an airplane on the Wi-Fi. Like I had recorded it, edited it, got it all ready to go, and then hit publish. And I think that when I did that, that was like really exhilarating and really scary at the same time. But it was super fun to be able to do that and just get it up and out. Right. But I think then the challenge became oh wow, yeah, you really do have to like put some thought into this and edit it and know where you're posting it and know what your description's going to be and your SEO and tags and all that. But the beauty of it now is that we really have tools with Riverside that we're using right now, or Descript or Cast Magic, to just have a lot of that done for you, where it'll just generate. And yes, it's through the evil AI, but I think that's the right way to use AI, is to just streamline your workflow so it gets out of the way of your creativity and lets you just keep doing what you want to do, which is remove friction and get your voice heard.
Right, absolutely. That's one of the best use cases that I've found for using AI and telling people, like, if that was the problem before of me having to, search keywords, should I put in my descriptions, all this, guess what? There's this magic now. This evil magic that you can go and say, find all this stuff for me. And
Mm-hmm.
right. And then they bring you back. It's like your dog bringing you back the dead bird and say, here you go. It's ready. Have it. Uh,
Ta-da.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's done. And that's the beautiful part of saying, "Hey, look, more of these walls that people are, put up inside of their head and saying, I don't know if I could do it." Is that
Mhm.
there are the tools now. There the ability to do all this is
Yeah.
here, right? And
Yeah. To
it just
just
take
yeah.
it just takes the idea, right? It takes the idea to sit down and actually say, "Okay, let me cognitively think of something really good that I can talk about over and over and over and over and over again." Uh,
Yes. That is key. That
it
is
is
very
key
key.
because you might think in your head it becomes redundant,
Mhm.
but, you have new listeners all the time
Exactly.
who come in and they might catch you, mid 50th episode and go,
Mhm. What's
"This is
that?
new." Yeah, this is new. There's some people don't know that you have song 43. They only know you as TMI with Laura.
Mhm.
They may have not gone back further enough to go, "Oh, wait, she had another show?"
Mhm.
Um, so to me, it's the ability to say, "Okay, I need to be able to speak to what I'm saying, every single time, and maybe
Mhm.
find a new way of how I approach communicating that with an
Right.
audience or with the guest." Um, so that kinda leads me into kinda like my next question, which I'm pretty sure you have a very good thought about is, what do you see as any podcaster getting started, the initial investment of, say, hey, buying the right gear or, um, when should be the right time for me to, like, elevate my game and invest in something a little bit better, a different type of microphone? Because I know the most people, most coaches gonna tell you just start with what you have. I get that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But there comes a point where there has to be an evolution.
Yeah. And what I tend to advise people on in my day job is if you can stretch a little and get the better mic, you're going to be better off because then you're not going to be buying twice. You're going to be buying once. And a lot of people get hung up on a number. But what I like about Shure mics in particular is that we make mics like I'm talking in the MV7 Plus. It's a USB mic. It's not crazy expensive. It's under 300 bucks, which I always make the analogy now, that's two nice dinners out with your husband or wife or whatever, which is scary, but true.
No, bring back the
Um,
breadsticks.
I know, shoot, it's not even like a nice dinner. It's like you're going to Chili's for
Right.
150 bucks. Um, nothing down on Chili's. I love me a good margarita from Chili's. But anyway, so I tell people to just don't sell yourself short because you think I'm not good enough or I'm not ready for the professional gear. Don't go crazy with it. You don't have to spend $1,000+ on gear. Buy a USB microphone that's dynamic, that's important. If you buy a condenser mic, it's going to pick up the room and all kinds of noises. It's going to be too sensitive. Buy a dynamic microphone that's USB and you're good to go. That's really and headphones. You need headphones.
And headphones, right.
Yeah.
Have you a good set of headphones and you're ready to get going, get behind the mic. So, one of the things that I did like and enjoyed about your podcast is that some of them were very short. There's this idea that they're no, 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 that's great. There's this idea that people have to have an elongate like, I do hour-long episodes, but that's because I don't know how to shut up. I can keep talking. Um,
Same, same.
but then there are people that like, "Hey, I do little vignettes. They're 8,
Mhm.
9 minutes long, but yet there's still a lot of value in what you're sharing." There's a lot
Well,
of things I took out of some of your shorter ones I was listening to, and I
thank
go,
you.
even though it felt like a small little quick hit, and I was like, "That's it? So,
Well,
okay."
and what I learned fairly quickly into my podcasting journey was my key demographic were people in my small town in Connecticut, and their average drive was about 8 to 15 minutes, right? So I was like, why do I need to do this whole long show? Plus, it was a solo podcast when I started. So it was just me talking to myself. Like, how long can you talk to yourself about
Oh,
yourself?
I can talk 45 minutes.
Woo! I got to the point, Gabe, where I was like, okay. And I started bringing people on, and that's how TMI became a thing. But um, yeah, I kind of realized, okay, I got people from their house to the grocery store or their house to soccer practice. What can I talk about? And it really just became a journal for me too, because I travel so much for work and people had asked me about that. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to talk about what I did last week so that I remember because I can't remember where I was, and yeah. So I'm glad that you enjoyed the shorter ones. Thank you for saying that.
Well, and then I came up with a question while you were sitting there talking now, but you said you recorded your first episode on the plane. Was there anybody sitting next to you and were they thinking, "What the hell is she doing?"
No, I released it on the plane. I did
Oh,
not
you released
record
it
it
on
on
a
the plane.
plane.
That would
Okay.
be a horrible sounding for a podcast, even with the magic of AI. Um, no, I recorded it at home at this desk in this very spot that I'm recording this at, and I hit save and got on the plane and was like, okay, whatever, and then edited it and published it on the plane.
No, okay, that makes that
You're
that makes it a little better story.
like, wow, tell us about that
That
microphone. Yeah, no, no, no,
no,
no. No, although I have seen some creators who are on there, like, making beats or making songs. Now
well,
that would be hilarious to be next
that
to
would be
that person, like,
that's quite a
beatboxing, and
flight.
you're like,
Like,
"Hi."
how
Yeah,
long is the flight? We got to
I
connect.
know. Yes, what is going on?
So,
Yeah.
so what was that's another thing that I want to speak to too. You transitioned from doing a solo show to now bringing on guests. What would you say to anybody who's thinking about that idea of saying, you know what, I've done this one long enough. I want to transition. Um, was it just like a switch? Here it is. Here's the other one, or was there a build up to?
No. No, I transitioned. I said I started kind of prepping people on song 43 and said, "Hey, we're over 100 episodes in." I think I was at like 106 and I said, "It's time for a change. I realized I know some pretty cool people and I think you would like to learn about them." And so it just kind of planted that seed and then made the switch. So there wasn't like a fade. It did switch, but I did prep people. So and I kept the same feed and everything in Libsyn on my podcast host. If you go and put in song 43, you're going to see TMI with Laura all in the same kind of thing,
Okay, yeah.
the
Because I
same
listened
feed.
to the episode too where you were transitioning. Like, well, I have everything ready, but guests are hard to wrangle. So that's kind of leaving me into the next question.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
for
Yeah.
any new podcasters who are getting started in this sphere and want to do an interview show, what suggestions would you make to them to say, okay, this would make probably your process a little bit easier when it comes to finding and booking guests and bringing them on?
Um well, finding, I think you did it great by posting it on LinkedIn. I didn't have I'm keeping it just to my circle of friends for now and it's actually then leading to more guests because they're like, "Oh, you got to have blah 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 on." And so that's been super cool for me, but if you're trying to find guests, LinkedIn can be a great resource. And then Calendly, having an online calendar where you can just throw those times out to people and let them find it. And then that's all automated. And then while you're waiting for them, once you've booked them, start building the assets. Like you were saying, you've already done all that legwork so that you have your social clips or, at least your graphics ready. And,
You've
then
been
it's
listening
just kind
to
of
this
Oh,
editing and plugging and playing it.
you've
And then
been
you're good.
listening to this
whoa.
Whoa,
Misfire.
who's
So,
joining the chat?
yes, no. So, see, this is what I mean when I say pre production. I already have my commercials, everything
I
ready to
didn't spend
drop.
a fortune or waste hours in a studio
AI.
to get
Like,
there.
Wow.
11 Labs
like I have your intro ready. I mean, I'm just, I needed
Yes.
the interview.
See? We're not even done and Gabe's ready to just
Ready to
be
go.
done with me. Yes, I love it.
But no, the whole part of just what you were making mention of, I think uh, most most creators who are getting started in the idea of like wanting to build a podcast, it is finding the channels to reach out to people. I found you on LinkedIn. I found multiple people on Threads. There's like a big podcast like area there. I joined a few podcasting communities. So I went and did a lot of outreach
Yeah,
for
you did. That's great.
what I was trying to find, and of course, doing that, I've done social media for the last 8 years. It was a little bit easier, but I still will say it's not still as easy to get everything lined up to get
Mm.
commitments. Um,
Well, and
I
then
mean,
to get people to show up, like
uh,
they'll just flake out. I mean, I'm dealing with musicians and I love them, but they're like, I can't, something came up. And I get it. Like half of them are actively gigging. So like you got to let them take the gig, but Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard.
Yes, you got a particular niche that might cause you to say, okay, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to have this episode on, but
Yeah.
even though it's planned and scheduled, we're just going to
Well,
go.
and that's why I didn't launch when I said I was going to launch, because I wanted to have 5 like in the can before
Yes.
I even hit go. So that was my kind of litmus test, or whatever,
And
my
I will
standard.
say, I'm planning on 30 episodes, and I got the 30 people, 30 episodes in 30 days. But
Wow.
the outreach was, I'm going to tell you, the outreach was about 80 people though. Out of
That's
those,
great.
so about out of 80 people, I got maybe a third, a little over a third of what I was shooting for. So I know that you have the podcasters have this idea in their head when they're starting, is that I'll just reach out to so and so and they'll say yes and they'll show up, and then you get everything lined up and crickets,
I
or
know.
it's a
I
last
know.
minute cancellation. So it doesn't speak bad about, again, what happens, but just know that that's part of the business
Mhm.
of doing
Prepare
this.
yourself for
Prepare
disappointment.
yourself.
No. I know. I know. I get it. Yes. It's
So,
hard. Life gets in the way. So I get it. But yeah, it's hard.
yeah. So why did you transition to saying I want to just I know you had a musical background,
Mhm.
but you have had a background of also being 20 years of teaching, showing other people how to do it, how to get into podcasting.
Mhm.
Uh, what was the draw to say, I want to concentrate on the musical part, the musicians, the people in my life that I know, because like you said, they are musicians, and gigging and finding the time to actually get them to sit down and record can be a little bit, again, difficult.
Mhm.
Because I want to be able to say to another podcast creator, look, if you're in this space or you're in this area, understand there are going to be moments there's time constraints
Mhm.
that you have to commit to. So what was that for you when you got started and saying, okay, I'm going to just start doing musicians and people that I know,
I guess.
instead of saying somebody who's more, because, again, you're in a sphere where you could find tons of podcasters who would say, or people in social media who would say, oh yeah, absolutely, I can do this. That's what they do all
Mhm.
day. So
Mhm.
really easy.
Well, I guess because the first guests that I've had, I've known for over like 20 years. So that made it easy because I knew I could count on them. They were my like core people who wouldn't flake. And that was great. That made it kind of a feel like it was going to be more attainable, than as opposed to having like kind of satellite guest come on that I didn't really know. And that'll be the next layer of this, because I've already talked to several people that I know really well. So now I got to kind of branch out and meet some other people. Um, but yeah, I think it's just it's knowing that people are people, and you just have to kind of work around it and be flexible and be able to pivot, and whatever happens happen.
I love that. So now I wanted to touch on another part that both you and I as creators have to figure out, and that is the next part of, okay, I've sat down, I've got the idea, I've lined up the guest, we're sitting down, we're recording. Now, what is the part of finding the avenues to start promoting what you create? Because there are, again, if you're an unknown quantity or unknown product, you're not just going to release it out to the sphere of, what they call the saturated market,
Right.
of now saying, oh yeah, my podcast is great, it's going to stand out, and you might get 10 people and 3 of them are in Malaysia, and like,
Mhm.
why Malaysia?
I know. Why how did you find me? Yeah, I think for me it was kind of going where I knew my people were. So I'm in my 40s. Facebook is where my people still are.
Yep.
And Instagram, but like Facebook is where I get the most engagement. So when I first started putting out the shows, I would go there and get the most comments, likes, etc. Now that I have guests on the show, it automatically kind of doubles the efforts um effortlessly, because they're going to mention it. Even if they mention it one time, they're going to reach a whole other set of eyeballs and ears that I wouldn't otherwise. So that's the benefit of having guests. And yeah, I think choosing where I was going to promote it, I never did the podcast, and I still don't do the podcast to, make hundreds of pennies. But I do it because I love doing it, and it's so fun and it gives me joy. So I think that's kind of helped me. Like I didn't have an expectation of it going anywhere. So if it does go anywhere, bonus. But like I just knew I went where my people were, and I've kind of stuck with that, and it's worked out.
Right. Because I will say that I've had other creators come on and they've kind of gone down that similar path. Whereas like, hey, I started out as it just being a hobby and something that I'm fun, passionate doing, but then there comes a moment where they realize maybe this transitions into something more. It takes on more of a defined role and say what I'm doing is in business marketing or content or I'm an educator and I'm using it to again help other educators. I've had other people come on from all different genres and it seems that they all start out with a similar story that yeah, it was kind of just a fun way to get my voice out there, but then it transitioned into something a little bit um, more than what I thought it was. It became I spoke to a guy, he did 1,200 episodes.
Oh my
He
goodness.
started talking about just comics, right? Him and his friend. It was a throwout, you know, and
Something
now
fun to do on a
something
Tuesday.
fun to do on a exactly. And it morphed into something he didn't envision or imagined. So,
Mhm.
would you ever think of that point if you got to that idea of saying, "Okay, this is fun. This has been great. There's a lot more now, say, audience and people who are interested in what I'm talking about." Would you ever think about transitioning from it just being a hobby into something a little bit more serious?
I mean, I would love that. I think that that's ultimately when you do put yourself out there on a podcast level that you're wanting people to listen. So if it does gain traction, that would be fantastic. I don't know where I would want it to go though if it did get to there. You know what I mean? Like would I want to be just a podcaster? I don't know because I'm so many things that like people that's kind of what the whole thing was about when I started Song 43. It was podcast for those of you looking to get a deeper look at how this creator creates while being a mom, working full time, and doing all the things. Because everybody's always asking me, "How do you do all this?" And like, how do you do all this? And so I can't really sit still. So if it did take off, which would be super cool, I wouldn't know what to do with myself, and I'd try to do something else, knowing me.
You would go, I gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no,
What's next? What's
what's
next?
next? No,
Mhm.
I love that though. It's an honest answer. Um, so have you in the amount of time that you spent like helping other creators learn how to podcast, like learn technique, learn what it is, what kind of microphones work for them, all that sort of jazz. Have you ever had any of them that like took off? Have you ever had any people that you've met that said, you know what, I started when I helped that individual, or she was that, or he was
Oh,
this.
um,
Have you ever looked back at that?
I don't know if I have because I do it for work. So like I don't really it's not like I'm a personal coach and then I
Right.
could be like, "Oh, my student blah blah blah." But I will say when I was on this event that I spoke on earlier today, all the speakers were using Shure mics. And so I was kind of like, "Okay." I mean, and not saying that that was all me, but I will say that we've done a lot of work in that community in particular to just spread the brand awareness and the brand affinity, and so I hope that that has worked in a positive way, and yeah, so that was something kind of
It's
cool.
like it's kind of cool to see all the other creators going, "Oh, look what you're speaking on."
Yeah,
I'm not speaking on one though, so don't feel.
I know, I can tell, Gabe, I can tell.
Well, I get. Let me just tell you, I had a Shure MB7X, and um, when my daughter wanted her set up and whatever, I was like, okay, darling, I love you. She's going to move into the career field of editing and
Oh,
over
good
stuff.
for
So
her.
I said, here you go. I'm going to give you my good mic. Please take care of it. I'm using. Well, I already had like 4 just studio Rode pod mics that I was using for recording for other podcasters at the time, but that's what I'm using now.
No
I
judgment. He's got a big blue windscreen on it too, which is
well, she
comedy.
took my well, I had a dock,
What, Doc Pop?
dock pop on well, so I have one on
Yeah.
my wife's, on hers. I still have mine that was for the my sure, but mine it's funny, but we have a podcast we do together where we talk about love and relationships, and they're both pink, and my daughter didn't want pink. Her favorite color is blue, so,
Let go.
she's like, "I don't want this. You take it."
You take it.
So I have a if anybody wants a pink, Shure MV7 dock pops, I have
Nice. Did you know that you can get a pink MV7, like the
Uh,
mic itself?
yes. No, I have seen those. Those are nice. I've seen the all
Yes.
whites. Those are
Yep.
nice.
You
Uh,
can go to this thing called
yes.
colorware.com,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you can choose the color of like the yoke and the mic and the ring and everything. And yeah,
That's
it's
when
not
you
a sure
for
thing, but
new podcasters, that's when you get up to that level. Like, let me start customizing
I know customizing my mic.
my
I don't
mic.
even have one anymore. I have one down there, but it died, so I don't use that one
I don't
anymore.
use that
But
one anymore.
yeah, this one I'm just the standard old MB7 Plus,
No,
but
but
I
let me tell
love
you,
it.
it sounds great.
Thanks.
Um,
I do love it.
because that's one of the things that people, it's like, well, how do I get a good sound? How do I get a good quality sounding audio? How do I get my podcast to sound like so crystal clear? Um, because there's people who buy the microphones, they buy the money, they put it all in there, and yet it still sounds okay.
Yes. Yes.
But I've heard better on lesser quality sometimes.
Yeah. That's what's cool about this particular mic is and USB mics that have any sort of digital signal processing, DSP, because that is working magic while you're just doing your thing. So this is an auto level mode right now. So even if I get up close to it or I back off of it, it still automatically adjusts. So I don't have to think about my gain. And I love that. For people who've never done anything in audio and they're like, what the hell is gain? Like you just plug it in and it sounds great and it makes it easy. So yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Podcasting
that's
is it's easier now to get into than ever. So you should just
right.
do it if you're on the
So, well, that kind of leads me to the fun part where I get to talk about what you're doing. What's going on in the future for Laura? Is it continuing the podcast? Is it concentrate on the music side of her? Is it there's so many things that we could probably dive into. I mean, to me, this is where I enjoy this part of the conversation.
Yeah, there is I have a new album that is coming out. And it's my first full album since gosh, since 2000, like full album since 2008. I did an EP in 2012 and I've released singles along the way, but this one is an album that's taken 6 years to make and some of the songs on the album are over 20 years old but are finally kind of being realized in a way that I have never been able to do it. So that is super exciting, and I just signed a record deal with a label called Bigger Beast Records. So they're going to help me launch it and promote it, and the podcast will tie into that hopefully. And
See,
yeah, so that's what I'm kind of focusing
almost like
on right now. Right
almost like
now,
a vehicle now,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
there was
They'll what
method
it
to the madness.
method to the madness exactly because maybe they'll somebody be listening and go, wow, she's a singer songwriter and podcaster. We need to use that as a tool for her
Yes, exactly.
tool for bringing on other people, other musicians. So one more thing that I I'm blanking out for a second. I had it on my head and I've been going, oh, that's what it was. Okay. So, um, that the things that you've done in your, excuse me, in your career from working with Shure, from being a musician, being a mom, out of all those things, what would you say has probably been probably the most rewarding part of
Oh,
your life?
being a mom, 100%. My kids are hilarious. They're great. They're brilliant. They're beautiful. Yeah, that's
Well,
it.
I always like asking that question when I get a
Yeah.
chance because there's
It
so many
was
people.
buying a Porsche. Yeah, I mean,
Like,
like, you know what
well,
I
there's
mean?
some people. It's like, well, my career, my work, my life's
I
work.
mean,
Like,
yeah, because a lot of people don't have kids, and I respect that when people make that decision because, like, just think, even like 25 years ago, if you weren't having kids, it was like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And now it's like, "Nah, I'm good." But no, I think that is they are my greatest accomplishment, and they are my pride and joy, and they're just awesome. So yeah, that's the most rewarding.
so are they? They're like, my mom's cool because she does music, or blah, my mom
Well,
does music.
I mean, they're 11 and 14, 2 girls. Y you'd have to ask them, but I think I think that they respect what I do, and
Right.
it's all they've known too, but they do respect what I do, and I think that they're proud in their tween and teenage selves kinda ways.
Right. Is that one of the things that they see as far as like what your career takes? And because I know your career has you going all over the place, convention here, going here, stopping there.
Mhm.
Um, is that something that you think they go, man, I wish mom would just focus on music and work here? Or is that like, that's just who she is? Like, that's the magic of how Laura operates.
Um, well, I've talked about it with my 14-year-old a little bit and just said, "Hey, do you ever feel kind of like you've been deprived of me because I'm gone traveling?" And I don't actually travel that much anymore. I used to travel a little bit more. I'm out like once a month, maybe twice a month for work. And she's like, "Well, no, it's all I've known, and she's like, "It sucks sometimes, like, when I have to miss things, like, I'm gonna be gone on her birthday and my birthday next week, and that sucks." For her, I don't care about mine, but, like, she's like, "It's alright," because she knows we're gonna celebrate it in a big way the next week with her friends, and, I think in some ways it served my girls well to know that I'm here for them no matter what, but I also have things that I need to do, and I have responsibilities, and you know the world keeps ticking, and yeah, it's definitely hard sometimes though.
Oh, I love that because the part of the the reason I was had to think about it, go back, but I thought about it earlier was part of the resistance is that people put up all these roadblocks in their head. Hey, I got kids.
Hmm.
I got my work. I got all these other things that I can't sit down and find time to record an episode, which is why I would kind of hit on the small little episode you started out with. It was enough to just, whet the appetite, get it going, get it out there. Um,
Hmm.
and saying, hey, look, you don't have to again have this elaborate, 30 to 40 minute. It's not doc. It's not doc rock. If people don't know what doc rock is, he can go talk for an hour and 30 minutes. He talks about he doesn't like having a hard stop. So
He just
he
goes, yeah,
just goes.
exactly, yeah.
But there's something about also too saying that, look, I don't need that long strand of time. I just need 10 to 15 minutes or something really great or really, just whatever. It's something that you can record and have to put out there in the world and say, okay, this is my little piece to get started
Hmm.
and build momentum. That I think that's a beautiful part of what it is to actually be a podcaster is that you don't have to have all these structured, I don't know, ideas that eh, or not the idea, but the thoughts that you see other podcasters have to create. Like I have to have a long show, I have to have a long intro, I have to have all these things, and it's not totally a necessity.
Right, exactly. I started without an intro, without a graphic, without anything. It just said, "Okay, here we go," and then I figured it out. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you, Flora. I do appreciate you. I know it's been a busy day,
You
but
too. Oh,
I,
geez.
no, again, when it's a labor of love, doesn't even seem like it for me. Um, I said, ask me in like 100 episodes, and I'll tell you probably a different story. But
Yeah.
all this is still fresh and still going strong. So I don't see myself fading anytime soon. But I know that there has to be an endpoint for me because I cannot keep up at a rigid pace like that without burning myself out. I know myself better than that,
Yeah,
but
that's important to take care of yourself,
I gotta go
definitely.
hard. I gotta go hard and fast right now for the time being until I can say, okay, now it's time to ease up and hit the brakes a little bit. Got to get the momentum though. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. I know you've been busy. I'm gonna let you run. I got my stepdaughter over here knocking on the door, like
I I can hear her in the background. She's like, "Look."
she's knocking, like, "Mommy, mommy!" It's like I want to scream, "Mommy's not in here!" But
I
you know,
hear you.
this is a
They scream
podcast. Okay,
anywhere.
thank you, Laura. I do appreciate it. You have a
Thank you
good
so
rest
much.
of your evening, and I'll send out assets, everything once everything is recorded in the can and ready to launch, and that way you can promote, put it out in the world, let people know you were on the show.
Sounds great. Looking forward
Okay.
to it. Thank you,
Thank you
Gabe.
again. I appreciate it. You have a
All
good
right.
one.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.